like to do is just take a few moments right now, and I know I'm very conscious that you have family with you, Rachel, but if we just take a few moments right now just to make our bodies as comfortable as we can, get any pillows you need, probably not blankets because it's so hot out, but whatever you need to make your body really, really comfortable. Get your tea nearby, whatever you need. And I'm going to just invite you to close your eyes with me just for just a really brief grounding meditation, just to really help us sort of anchor into this time together and really sort of distinguish from our busy day and whatever else we have after this, and really just give ourselves a few moments of care and stepping into this this time together. So I invite you to close your eyes and connect with your breath, and really feeling that sensation that it makes on your nostrils as it goes in, your chest expanding, and that beautiful, beautiful release on the out breath. And just giving your mind a few moments where your breath is your only focus. Going in, releasing. And bringing your awareness as well to the feeling that your body is making with your chair or your sofa or wherever you are sitting right now. That real tangible feeling of being held. Lean back into your chair. Let your body, your arms be heavy. And really noticing the connection that your body is making with your seat. And allowing yourself to really feel held and supported. And knowing that at any time you can just bring your awareness back to this sensation of your body being held and supported. That calming effect of your breath coming in, oxygenating your body, and that wonderful release. And really, it's just a moment. It's just an opportunity to really come into presence with yourself. And you are welcome to stay in this dreamy place, this really calm place while I talk. Or if you would rather bring yourself gently all the way out and open your eyes and look at the screen, you're welcome to do that too. But I'm going to just spend a little time introducing myself because not everybody knows me. Some not at all, and some just not very well. So I thought I would just begin with who I am and a little bit of my background. So I'm Juliette Woods. And, even though I experienced visions and, supernatural experiences, spiritual happenings as a child and growing up, I didn't begin formal training until 2008. And I stepped into a 3-year apprenticeship, shamanic apprenticeship. It didn't begin as an apprenticeship, and so it just sort of evolved into one. And by the end of it, it took 4 years total. And by the end of it, um, I had trained in the traditional sort of shamanic practitioner type techniques. And after that, and it was a really quite close group that we formed. And so after that finished, after that completed, I was living quite far from everybody else at that point. And I began holding shamanic journey circles each month, and community celebrations, solstice, this kind of thing, fire ceremonies. It began really because I just wanted community, and I wanted to have like-minded folks around me. And I knew there was a lot of practitioners in this town, and I thought, well, let's all get together and be together and do what we do. And so over the years, I think I did that. I think I wrote it down. I'm not too sure how many years, maybe about 4 years into it, maybe. I started seeing a real dedicated group of folks, and they were the ones that would show up all the time. This work really resonated with them in a deeper way, and they began asking me, if I would teach and step into that and sort of take them a little bit farther. And I resisted for quite a long time, and then I ended up taking Sandra Ingerman's shamanic teacher courses, and just really sitting with this idea. And I took a year to put together the Shamanic Living Immersion, and it was really sort of based on what I was already offering, and then looking at, I work really closely with the seasons in the natural world. So then looking at, the medicine wheel of the seasons, and how maybe introducing certain things at certain times seem to flow better, this kind of thing. And I spent a year putting all the content together, and began offering these people just a more focus, like a focus group, I guess. And from that first year, I really realized that some major components were needed to hold a group really well, like having all the dates planned, a year in advance, this kind of thing. Just sort of more structure to it. And so the second year that I offered it, we had it sort of an expanded syllabus. We had more structure. We had things planned for the entire year in advance. And then this last year, we're just finishing our third run of the Shamanic Living program. And this year really taught me a lot about the different levels of commitment that folks have, and how to sort of accommodate them and support them, as well as previously anyone that had moved away, we would just video call them into our gatherings and this kind of thing. And that's really kind of cumbersome, to hold a sacred circle and then have technology issues. That really didn't flow very well for me. I didn't enjoy that. So this year, that's part of why this year we're going to have a separate online group as well as an in-person group. And you'll see if you look on the website, there's different things that are included with that. The in-person group, for instance, has sessions are included. They have a little bit more one-on-one time. The idea is that they arrive for the in-person gatherings, so the workshops and the journey circles, some seasonal ceremonies, this kind of thing. Whereas the online group, they are they're going to be more held in a way that's appropriate for them. So I'm converting all of the workshops into online format. So, you know, instead of sitting with me, then there'll be a video of me and more written content, this kind of thing, audio supports, this sort of thing. So then anybody online doesn't have to worry about missing out on anything that the in-person people are doing. And then also to anyone in person, if they're sick or they can't make it or they've traveled, then they have a really clean version to catch up on, rather than, you know, in the years gone by, I would just audio record or video record. And it's, you know, it's lovely and you still see the people that you're with, but it's not as clean, I guess. And, you know, so that's cleaning up this year. So the idea behind this program, I mean, it's really meant to support everyone from, you know, brand new to shamanism, brand new to having a spiritual practice, all the way up to experienced practitioners. That's the aim. So as things are presented, you know, they're really presented in sort of, you know, a level that somebody brand new can really begin to relate to and understand, and it's comprehensive. And then the more experience or the more time, the more energy somebody has, they're able to take those practices as deeply as they're wanting to. Also, the way that the information is presented, there is a lot of suggestions. There's a lot of practices that you could bring in, but it's not required. So it sort of has a lot that can be done, and then it sort of tailors off into what's recommended. And then each month there's submissions, and so then that's sort of like the really distilled, like, if all you can do is this, just do this kind of thing. So that, you know, depending on your whatever is happening in your life, you know, or your energy levels, you're able to really have a lot that you can draw on. But also too, it's not all required. It's not like some kind of workload. The idea behind all of this is that our soul tending and our spiritual lives really become just part of our day-to-day living, rather than just something else on our to-do list, right? So I feel like a lot of folks, you know, they're busy, they put things off, and it's like, oh yes, I should do this, but, you know, I don't have the time or the energy for it. So the idea is that we are finding ways that really seamlessly blend into our life, rather, like, whether we're, you know, a busy mom or really work in a corporate job or whatever crisis might be happening at the time, that our spiritual practice becomes a support through those challenges, as well as a way to sort of celebrate, you know, when things are going well, and celebrate and give back our gratitude and this kind of thing. And that it's all blended in so that it doesn't feel like another chore. That being said, you know, especially in the beginning of the year, so we start in October 1st. And it's a little bit top heavy, as far as, you know, because that's where we're really getting our journey practice down. We're getting a handle on, you know, the online platform. We're getting to know each other. We're perhaps learning some brand new skills and ideas, learning how to track, you know, progress and dreams and journeying and all of this kind of thing. So it can feel a little bit like a lot of information at the beginning of the year, just as we're setting that foundation. And then it really begins to all sort of click into place, and it all begins to smooth out a little bit. And by the time we get to summertime, you know, I feel like instead of becoming sort of information and head sort of work and tending to things in a really deep way, you know, in our personal lives, by the time it's summertime, we've really expanded into just embodying and really living our practice. And it doesn't feel quite so head oriented, and it's more body oriented. We're out there doing things. The way that the program is structured, so how it's released or how it's delivered, is another thing we've done this year is move to an online course platform. So it's very easy and it's very structured and super simple to find topics that maybe you want to revisit, this kind of thing. So it's on the Thinkific course platform, and it just, on one side of the screen, it just sort of lists all the topics, and then you can just sort of press the next button as you go through. And there's written content, there's video content, there's audio content, and it gets released each month. The work is released on the first of the month, and you have the whole month to sort of digest it and begin incorporating whatever practices into your life. So on the first of the month, that's sort of, and I call it the solo work. So this is stuff, even the in-person group, they get this online content and you read it through. I always say to folks, like, give it a little read through and then revisit it, like just let it percolate a little bit and then revisit and take it in little snippets and digest it as you're going along, so that it's just easier to digest, really. So on the first of each month, that's when the content is released. And I do, like I said, I do try to cover all the different ways that we engage and learn. So there's visual, there's reading, there's audio, I tell stories. There'll be workshops and things that can also be, online as well. So there's a lot of different ways to engage, and it's all in bite-sized sort of pieces. Then on for the in-person group, on the second weekend of each month, that's when we gather. So on some months, there'll be a workshop that would be on the second Friday. The journey circles are on the second Saturday. And then we have something called Sacred Places, Solo Spaces, which is where we get together and we go out to different beautiful places in nature. And then we take our separate space and connect to the natural world and to spirit in whatever ways that we feel most called to do. So for some people, that's drumming and chanting. Other people, it's having a meditation, making offerings, this kind of thing. And it can really help integrate the work from, the previous nights, the circle and the workshop. And so those are all the Friday and the Saturday. They are all evening, so it's either 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock until about 9. And then the Sacred Places Solo Spaces is 10:45, and it goes till just about noon. And so for those that are on the online group, those journeys are all going to be pre-recorded, and I will be posting the energy update. So those journey circles, we start with an energy update. We look at what's happening naturally with the seasons, the natural world around us. We take a look at what sort of celestial events might be influencing us. Sometimes there's community situations that are really calling on our attention or working on our nervous system. So like right now, for instance, the wildfires burning, it's something we're all sort of dealing with. So whether we're conscious of it or not, it's still sort of affecting us. Or for those that are really sensitive, we're feeling the anxiety and fears that might be coming up for people, who are being evacuated and this kind of thing. So that energy update will be uploaded every month. And then the actual journeys are going to be pre-recorded for those that are online, and they can be done at your leisure, really. And then anybody who misses in person can also do it at their leisure as well. At the end of the month, that's when the submissions are due. And so the submissions they're all very simple and easy and digestible. So examples might be, in the beginning, for instance, we start with ancestral work and altars and shrines, as well as learning how to journey and this kind of thing. So I believe that one of the first submissions is just to send in a photograph of your altar. And it's really, these submissions really, they do two things. Excuse me. They show me if like somebody's having some sort of struggles or misunderstanding something, or if it somehow plays into patterns that they're working on a personal level, and it's something that they've shared with me, and I can recognize it. I might bring that up to them. But mostly these submissions, what I do is I tuck them away and I save them into a folder, and I give them to everybody at the end of the year in September, when they're encouraged to sort of look back and sort of track, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what personal things that they're looking to work on, what has shifted, what hasn't shifted, you know, just really sort of tracking your own personal progress and becoming your own best teacher and going, oh yeah, though that really resonated with me and that really seemed to work. So I'm going to carry that forward and keep that. Or, yeah, no, that really didn't work for me at all. I have no idea why I did that, this sort of thing. Some other examples of the submissions are, well, they can be also, there's a couple that are asked for, but they're also open to whatever somebody else wants to put in to track their experiences that month. So there might be poetry, it might be photographs that they've taken, it might be, we have journey tracking sheets and dream tracking sheets, this kind of thing. So they might enter a dream that was really profound and really fit in with what they're personally working on, and so they'll submit it that month to add to their folder. Each month also there is a group video call, so kind of like this, actually exactly like this, and this is where some check-ins, personal check-ins, but also some real one-on-one support can be had. So, if somebody's struggling with something and there's something in the work that was delivered, some suggestions can be made of like, oh, hey, have you tried, for example, working with a tree. At one point we began really a close relationship with working with a tree. And so maybe, they're struggling, and that's a piece that they haven't been able to figure out how to incorporate into their life yet. And so sharing that with me, I can sit there and be like, oh, do you have a tree outside of your house? Oh, I didn't think about that, and how easy sometimes these practices can be of just taking a moment with the tree to just maybe ground yourself or hang a prayer tie or whatever. And so sometimes, we're going along and we're in the thick of our process, but it takes somebody else just to see how easy it can be applied. And it's also a venue for really creating community as well. So especially for the online group, the video calls are going to be a big part of getting to know each other, in a really nice dynamic way that's different than written posts on Facebook. Each group also will have their own private Facebook group for sharing in, for getting to know each other, for asking questions about the content, for asking for support. If they're going through something, they can ask for prayers, they can ask for ideas, get-togethers, this kind of thing. And so particularly, again, for the online group, that the Facebook group and the video calls are really where we're going to make our community feel close and connected. And it's still important for the in-person group as well, too, because we're only actually meeting once a month. So the Facebook forum and the video calls are they're really what you make it as well too, right? So some folks, they're just not really interested in that. They don't really want the community, and so they can just sort of remove themselves a little bit from engaging. But others, that what I've been finding is people really do want that group community support. And so by making sure that you show up, whether it's posting or coming to the phone calls, maybe even reaching out to those that you really resonate with and having um, separate chats, separate get-togethers, this kind of thing. It's really, the community will be really what everybody makes it to be. I do have here too, like making sure if you're, I think, those if you're present right now definitely would be like an online option. But, I wanted to encourage people to really take a look between the online version, the in-person version, and then soon, it's not yet, but somebody's already been asking about the self-paced course, which is also on the same website. And just looking at the really the differences of what's included. The curriculum for the two are the same. So we're still working, with the medicine wheel. We're still working with the seasons. We're still working all on the same topics. Everything the same is presented between the two groups. But the differences come, well, obviously with being in person or not. But there are some things like there's 3 shamanic sessions included in the in-person. There's also 3 private SLI gatherings for the in-person potlucks, and just stepping into some deeper ways of working. And some of that is translated into a workshop for the online group. There's a difference in the fee, the pay, as well as the structured. So the in-person, it's paid all up at front, and there is requirements. There's prerequisites as far as having to have attended 3 journey circles first, so that you kind of really know what you're getting into. But the online can be done in payments. They just need to have proof of automatic transfers. And then the self-paced course, which isn't released yet, it will be, it's really quite separate from the immersion programs. So the self-paced course, it's not tied in with the medicine wheel. It's not tied in with the seasons. It's definitely a lot less content, and it's basically just the workshops. So the introduction to shamanism, divination, this kind of thing. So it's just the workshops all put together into a bundle that can be done at someone's leisure. The access to all of the content, like for each year, I do encourage people to download and print out, so that a lot of people really do find reading a lot easier on paper rather than on a screen. I totally agree with that. And it's also nice to have it in a book, like a little book format as well for future. So the idea is that you can revisit the practices, or revisit some of the wisdom or the energies around the medicine wheel every year if somebody wants to, and they can revisit and take it deeper and deeper each time. I'm not 100% sure how that looks now that we've moved it to the online course forum. So you might end up having like a download and a print of only, this much on a page instead of just a full page. So I'm going to take a look at that. And if it's cumbersome in that way, I'll upload some PDFs where it can just be printed out a lot easier. And you also get access online. At this point, I'm just allowing people unlimited access. It still gets dripped out each month. So if you want to revisit it online next year, you can only do each month as it happens. and that's okay too. But you basically at this point have the ability to have unlimited access to all of the work. What else? The seasonal medicine wheel is sort of our anchor. That's sort of the common ground for us all. But the idea is that everybody also has the ability and the support to bring in practices from their cultural heritage. So looking into, for me, I have Irish and Scottish, so and luckily that's also what my apprenticeship was geared towards as well. So looking back to my roots, so say again using altars for an example, or I'll just use altars as an example. Looking back into practices from that culture, as well as also my personal interests. So for me, I'm quite drawn to plants, herbs, this kind of thing, also crystals. So I would look at, with my altar work, I would look at bringing in practices from my culture, bringing in plants, bringing in crystals, and using that in my altar practice. And so using the plants as an example, I would look at maybe what trees are common between where I live and in Ireland and Scotland, and bringing that in. And so somebody else in the program, they might be Ukrainian, and so then they're looking at bringing in practices or the colors or the herbs or whatever from their culture and that place in the world, and bringing that into their altar work. So the idea is that as we're going along, we're reclaiming our own cultural identities, our own traditional practices, so there is a level of sort of personal dedication to that, right? I can't hold everybody in all the different practices from around the world, but I can support people in finding ways to do that. So bringing in words from traditional languages, or bringing in the deities from our culture and working with that and creating our own sort of pantheon, our own set of guides that are related to our traditional cultures, as well as working with the land where we live, right? And so that's sort of the common ground that we can all work on. The seasons are all affecting us at the same time. I think everybody's in the northern hemisphere who's expressed interest, so that's helpful. We're all on the same seasonal page. That helps. And then, so the idea is that, you're given sort of structure around different practices, but it's up to each individual to bring in their own flavors, their own interests, their own skill sets. And so this is another part that I can help with when people are sharing their submissions. And we do this in the interview process, is we kind of look at, where are your interests? What are you skilled at already? What do you already know? What do you already do? And so then when we're given something, like a practice like altar work, I might notice, oh, I know that you are really interested in crystals, and have you thought about bringing crystals into your altar work? This kind of thing. And so we're really tailoring it to our own needs, and yet all have a common base to work from. And also too, I'm totally happy to connect folks that have similar backgrounds. So, especially some places, like Ukraine or Poland, these kinds of things where, borders and stuff have shifted a lot over the years, and practices kind of get melded together. It can be a little bit of detective work and sort of letting some things go too. So, it can be really helpful to pair up with people with similar backgrounds if you're trying to reclaim it and reanimate spiritual practices that have been lost to you. You can have a buddy in sort of trying to research that out and share stories and look up legends and look up deities and things like that and see who resonates with you. I am available to support folks. Um, each person is allotted a certain amount of one-on-one time. It's a little different between the in-person group and the online group. I think the in-person group gets a little couple hours more per person of just one-on-one support. So if it's just sort of wrapping your head around a certain practice or trying to figure out how to make it work for your lifestyle, this kind of thing, I'm happy to support. I do really want to stress that my support is around the content or your spiritual life or bringing it into your regular life. I have noticed that there's a tendency for a lot of folks to um, message me and want support, and I kind of feel like sometimes it borders on sort of life coach counselor type, and I really want to make it clear that that's not my forte, that's not my expertise. And I really encourage folks to find people who can fit that role. But if it's, how can I bring my spiritual practice as a support while I go through this crisis, I can help there, but I'm not going to necessarily help with what your crisis is. That's a big one. There is a second year that is optional. It's a little bit trickier to get into, whereas the SLI program, at least online anyways, it's, you sign up for a registration package, make your application. We have an online interview or by telephone. And then I do a journey just to make sure that Spirit is supporting this coming together. And for the in-person, it's the same except for the interviews in person. Whereas for year 2, a lot of getting into that program depends on how the Shamanic Living Immersion has gone for you, like how well it sort of seems to fit into your life, how much you resonate with the work, and just sort of how much sense it made to you, how much it became part of your life. And this is really a big part of it, is to sort of weed out folks that are there just for like a certificate or because they want to advance their career. That's not what any of this is about. All of this is really just about our own personal supports and really having our own richer life, really, a richer dynamic to our living. So it's not practitioner training, it's not, certified, you don't get a certificate and things like that at the end. Let's see, so some of the questions I wanted to look at, I think I've covered most of them already. Yeah, I did. I covered them all already. That's awesome. So let's see what time it is. Oh yeah, we're in a good time. So I see that Mama has Babe in her snuggly, which is super. But I was going to lead us on a bit of a journey, just a little short one. So I wonder, uh, it's asking a lot of you, but you might be able to do this, right? Just as you're doing your dance, like it's really kind of a Western idea that we're all quiet and it's all dark and we got like the steady drum beat and there's no interference, and then that's how we journey. That's like totally like a white Western kind of idea. Everywhere else in the world, you are dancing, you're going into trance, you got all sorts of, chaos happening around you and you're still doing it. So, it's up to you if you want to try this or not. But yeah, I think that's really great. I think it's really great. And actually that's something too, later on in the year, we talk about, you know, like standing up when you journey, drumming for yourself when you journey, rattling when you journey, this kind of thing. And for some folks, it's like such a big idea of like, what, I have to move at the same time. So, you know, you're just getting a head start here. Be like a pro. So let me just take a little sip here of my tea. Do you have any questions or anything right now? You can just do a shake your head or yes or no. I see you looking at, you're good. Okay, thanks. And I just see Rachel smiling. And the cutest little baby. Like, I haven't met your baby yet. Super cute. Oh, Brian can take the baby in a minute. Awesome. All right, so maybe we just wait a minute then. Let me, oh yeah, I can't hear you anyway. Yeah, but I thought I would unmute you in case you wanted to chat while we wait for Brian.
Oh, I'm trying to think of, where are you right now? Are you in Squamish?
Yeah, right now I'm in Squamish. Yep. And I'm heading up to Powell River Friday, and actually I'm holding the year 2 group. They go on a vision quest, and so we're heading off to do that. We're going off to Savory Island to have a vision quest, and
Ooh.
yeah, I'm totally
And do
excited.
you are you staying on Savory?
Oh yeah,
Like overnight? Like,
2 nights out on the beach. Yeah,
wow.
no fires, very little that we, you know, what we can carry. We both basically really just need water and shelter from the sun because but I hear it's going to rain, so it'll be great. Yeah, and actually that was something I didn't say, you know, for the recording anyways. I mean, you guys know it, but the in-person group is in Squamish, and then the online can be for everybody anywhere, and there's no limit to size, whereas in person there's only, I'm reducing the size from 10. We've had 10 these past few years, and I'm reducing it to 6. I kind of wanted just 5, but then I thought if people buddy up, you might want 6 to make
Mm.
it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what made you do that?
My energy levels, to be honest. Yeah. I think what's happened is I really wanted to provide um, the in-person group to be sort of more for those that are really dedicated um,
Yeah.
and really focused. And then the online group can be for those that are, you know, um, more casual perhaps about it. I don't know how to say that without sounding like nonchalant, because, you know, this isn't the type of uh, thing that's kind of nonchalantly done. Um,
Mhm.
but I really, yeah, I really want to be present and give my all to those that are really dedicated. Um, and I feel like making that group smaller kind of just distills that a little bit, as well as also having the prerequisites. We didn't have the prerequisites before, and so having people have come to journey circles before, they have a better idea of what they're getting into, they really resonate with me already, this kind of thing. um, and I feel like there was something else that I was about to say there and I forgot. Yeah, those months where there's sessions, you know, holding 10 sessions is a lot, you know. For me, I can only do one a day, and I'm also doing, you know, the monthly in the community work and all of this too, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
some of that's just managing myself. um Yeah, and that's something also that I should say as well, is that this kind of a program or this kind of experience, really diving in for a year, doing focused personal work, developing, you know, soul life, looking at your patterns, bringing healing, this kind of thing. It is an initiatory experience as far as generally what happens for those who are really taking this deeply and personally, life can really shake up a lot as your internal changes are being made, and then of course they begin to shake up things in the external world. You begin to have less patience for stuff that you tolerated before, this kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so it's actually one of the questions that I ask in the interview, is when shit hits the fan, right? Like how much, I call it butt kicking from me does that person want? And anyone who knows me knows, like, I'm a pretty gentle person, but I can also be pretty, like, call people out on their stuff too. And so the idea of, when you're in chaos, do you just want a little like cheerleader of like, you got this? Or do you want some like, no, look at your practices. What have you been doing? What have you been drawing on? Oh, look, this is exactly what you've been asking for. So how can you, really milk this experience for all that it's worth, this kind of thing.
So you're saying what kind of approach do I prefer from you?
Yeah, it is one of the, it'll come up in the interview. I
Oh,
ask, I
interesting.
ask,
I
what
like straight
level
shooters.
of butt kicking? 'Cause some people just want to go through their chaos and just be left alone and just know that
Yeah.
there's somebody there. And then so other people want to be really held to task of like, no, when I feel like giving up because life is hard right now and I don't want to continue even with the program because I feel like it's just so much and life is crazy and I'm so busy, you know, in this moment of clarity, how much sort of personal accountability, I guess, so it's, um yeah, it's
Well,
definitely.
I'd rather, personally, I like a straight shooter.
All right. All right. I like to think that, I'm always, I try to be tactful. I try to be gentle, even in my butt kicking, but,
Just say it. To me, anyways.
okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I like that. I like that a lot. I even have a little meme that I have created for on Facebook, and it's a woman and she's got her foot up and she's kicking, and she's like, "Argh," and she's doing like an air kick, and then I put little hearts by her foot. I was like, this is my loving butt kick of like, nobody sent in their submissions this month. What the hell's going on, guys? You know what I mean? Like this kind of thing. And I try to do it with love, right?
Yeah.
How are you doing there, Rachel? I feel like I could hear you, but I guess I can't. Yep, you're good. All right. So, do you want to do a little journey? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You're an experienced journeyer. Rachel, you journey too? Yeah, because you did the online introduction. Yeah, yeah. I feel like you're typing me something. All right, so I'll just give you a little synopsis first. So what we're going to do is we're going to journey to meet Ladybug. And Ladybug has come forward to be our guide, I guess, you could say, for this purpose this time. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to lead you through a little journey, and I'm really leading it for those who've never done a journey yet so far, so that they can feel supported in that rather than just tossed into the deep end. And I know that it's not easy for some others who are experienced at journeying to follow along. So just trying to meet everybody in the middle here. Yeah. You're fine? Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so we're going to go to our beautiful places in nature, our power spot. It's the first place that you think of, a beautiful place that you have been to before. And we're going to go off and we're going to go, I'll guide you through it. We're going to go and meet Ladybug. And Ladybug, you can do two things while you're there. You can ask Ladybug for some wisdom about anything that you have going on in your life at this time. Thanks, Ladybug, right? And then you can also thank Ladybug for giving you a blessing to bring back for your community. And it could just be one word. It might even be a feeling. So I'm going to let you guys get all comfy cozy. You can lie down, you can get in a chair, you can get a pillow, you can do whatever you need to do. How lovely, look at you. You don't have baby anymore, you're laying on the floor. Look at how that worked. So, oh, and I see Cindy's gone off. So you just want to make yourself really super comfortable. I'm going to wait for Cindy to come back. And so while we were waiting, just taking some time really with your breath again, really to let go of your day that you've had so far, really breathing that out. You can relax your body, any areas of your body that you might be holding tension, you might be holding some pain even, and just breathing into those places and breathing some relaxation into them. All right. So you're going to begin with this beautiful place in nature that you have been to before and imagining it in your mind. And as we go through this journey, I really invite you to draw on all of your senses. So while we're imagining something in our mind happening, also bringing in to your awareness the emotions that might be coming up. Bringing in, messages from your body. Maybe a foot begins to feel kind of tingly, or your shoulders feel twitchy, or you feel it a little dancey. Spirit brings us messages in all these different ways, through our emotions, through our body sensations, through our audio or hearing. So you might hear messages as an audio, like words in your mind. You might just be very visually oriented and really see it very clearly, like a movie. So really allowing yourself to tap into all of these senses and all of these ways that you can receive a message. And also going through into this journey, really letting go of the need to understand everything. So you might be shown things in very metaphor situations. You might be shown things that you don't really quite understand. And instead of going into, I'm not doing this right, or is this right, or what's happening, I don't know what this means, really again with your breath, just releasing all of that and trusting that everything that you experience when the rattle starts is part of your message, and it's just right. All right. So our intention is we're going to meet with Ladybug, where you can ask for a piece of wisdom or advice and retrieve a blessing or a blessing word. So taking a nice deep breath and setting your intention that we're going off to meet Ladybug nice and strong. Another deep breath, letting go of any sort of expectations as to what that might be like. And one more deep breath, because it feels really good. So bringing yourself in your mind to the beautiful place in nature that you have been to before. And taking a little bit of time to make it as real as you can. With really vibrant colors. Imagining what it smells like. Checking in with your hearing. What might you hear while there? And looking at little details. The veins of a leaf, the petals of a flower, how your feet feel on the ground, how the air feels on your skin. And you're going to take a little look around for a passage down into the earth and that goes down into the lower world. So this might be a little rabbit hole, might be the root of a tree, or a crack in a rock. And you're magically going to fit in this little portal. So finding your way down into the cool earth, traveling down until you come out into another beautiful place in nature. A meadow with green grass, and yellow flowers, and here in this meadow is a flower with a ladybug on it. So take a little bit of time to explore and find the ladybug waiting for you. And when you find her, you can thank her for showing you some wisdom around any question or situation you might have. And when you are ready, you can thank Ladybug for giving you a blessing to bring back for your community. And really open all of your senses to what she might show you or say to you, or what you might feel. And when you are ready and you feel that you have received some wisdom and a blessing, just reach into your magic pocket and pull out an offering to give to Ladybug in gratitude. So whatever you find in your pocket is just right. And you can say your thank yous and your goodbyes. And walk through the meadow to the portal where you came down. You're going to bring yourself all the way up. You can magically just go right back up through your portal, through the earth, and return to your beautiful place in nature where you began. And really calling all of yourself to have come all the way through back to your beautiful place in nature, where you can feel your feet firmly on the ground, the air on your skin, and then you're going to bring your awareness slowly back into the room that you're in and back into your body. Take some time to stretch, take some deep breaths, touch your face, breathe some deep breaths, and really welcoming all of yourself back into your body and into this present moment. Being really gentle with yourself coming out, and if you have something to drink, like a little bit of tea, it's always good to have, or water. Considering the evening the hour of the evening that it is. All right. And because it's just us here, I'm going to, well, it's hard for Rachel, she'll have to type, but I'm going to offer that if you would like to share anything from that journey, you're more than welcome to, particularly if you received a blessing to share, that would be lovely. You don't have to, no pressure. So Rachel, if you want to just type whatever you would like, I'm going to unmute Cindy. How was it for you, Cindy?
It was lovely. My power animal was very big, which was interesting. Bigger than ever, which was really interesting. I thought, wow. And the message, I got two messages actually. One, it was more about community and that there's power in community. And that the more people there to heal, the more power is sent out into the human race. And the other one message I got was more personal for me to, it was more about me self-dedicating myself on a more of a daily basis to my practice. Like really taking the time instead of always leaving it to the last and then I guess I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow I say the same thing and it's like I have to stop that and really because I really do love it. So that was, yeah, it was lovely.
I wonder if you have any insights around why your power animal was so big.
I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know what the influence is there, or maybe it's how I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It
Cut your
was huge though, absolutely huge. And I was like, whoa, you're usually not that big.
right. Right.
Very,
Yeah.
very big.
Really caught your attention. Hey?
Very much so. It was dynamically big.
And when was the last time you journeyed?
Maybe a month ago, which
Okay.
is, not a long time ago, but I'm
Yeah.
not doing as much as I would like to,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. I really appreciate the message you shared, the community, the power of community, and even though it was meant for you, like you said, like that dedicating to our practice, definitely, yeah, it's good for me to hear. It's good for me to hear that.
Yeah, well, we could all, all of us could probably, we could all dig in just a little bit more in that for our own good, right?
Mm, yeah,
Pushes us forward into being our better self, for sure.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting for me on a personal level because before this program came to be, I was on a many years long personal, deep focus, I guess, with a lot happening. It felt profound for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with this program over the last, so we're beginning our 4th year. And so for 3 years now, a lot of my attention has been on others.
Yeah.
My journeys is for somebody else, you know what I mean? Not all of them, but most of them, right? It's all focusing for community. And
Yeah.
there was a point where I was like, oh, I kind of panicked a little bit. I was like, does this mean I'm not doing my work? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I can't do that, can't fall into that habit of like, as a facilitator, not tending to yourself. And I had a really beautiful sort of vision of the tides, the ebb and the flow, and that's a personal metaphor for me that comes up a lot, the ebb and the flow. And it was just a longer, slower, it's like it's okay not to panic, that my personal focus will just naturally flow back in. And then since, I don't know if it was since then, I don't want to say since then, but over the last little while, definitely this last year, um, I've really been feeling other thing, like something else percolating, that like it's coming through, like it's coming down, uh, and it's for me, and what it seems to be is a new sort of way of relating to the spirit realm or my practice, um, on a personal level. And I'm sure there'll come a time where I end up sharing that, just because I just share stuff all the time. But I can, yeah, I can feel this focus of what's coming down for me, and it feels significant, and so it kind of makes it feel a little bit more okay that I've put all my intention out into the community for a time, because whatever's coming through for me is going to take my attention, and it's beginning to percolate through, and I know I'm being very vague, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Rachel, I can hear you.
I know.
I can hear you.
My other computer froze, and so I ran and got this one, and now the sound's working.
That's awesome. That's great.
So I didn't I missed most of what Cindy was saying about her journey.
Right. Oops, hold on. I just muted you by accident. Could you talk again, Cindy?
I could repeat it. Do you want me to repeat that? Oh, now she's muted.
Oh, what the heck? Hold on.
There, she's not. Now she's not. Okay. Do you want me to repeat it, Rachel?
I do. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm fine. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear it if you feel like sharing again. Sure. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. It's computers.
Yeah.
So I got 2 messages. One was for community, and it was about that there's power in community. Like I saw there was one little ladybug, and they said, basically, look at all these ladybugs, and they go after all the aphids, and they do a lot of hard work, right? Like, so if all the people go after the little aphids and work at helping and stuff like that, then our world will be a better place. So it was working as a community to make things better. And the other one was more of a personal message for me, and personal dedication to my work, a more dedication on a daily basis, because I've been laxing on that, and I think about it, and then I go, yeah, and I don't do it. And then at the end of the day, I go, damn, I didn't do it again tomorrow. So it was more like, no, dedicate that. Just really leave a note up and just do it, because I've been pretty busy with other things, as we all are, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
Awesome. I did hear the part when you were starting to speak the first time about your power animal being down there and being huge. Oh, yeah. And when I first got down there, I saw a ladybug huge, which was really funny. But I didn't get much for I kept hearing Teva, so I didn't get much for a personal message for the first question, because I kept kind of leaving and coming back. But for the blessing part, I for some reason tried when I thanked the ladybug for the blessing, I tried to give her a rock, and she just gave it back to me and said, no, you need this. So I don't know what that was about, but and the gift in my pocket was a butterfly. I pulled my hand out of my pocket and it started flying. Like, okay. But I did want to say that I've had first of all, I thought of ladybug today randomly. I didn't know why, but obviously I knew I was somewhere that I was going to be receiving a message from Ladybug, because for some reason Ladybug just popped into my mind at some point today. And also last week, I tend to find things at the beach that just want to come home with me. And last week, this sort of cool looking little knot burl piece of wood, driftwood thing, floated up, and there was a ladybug obviously dead on it because it just came from the ocean, but just hanging out, stuck there. And at that point too, I thought to myself, oh, I wonder if this is some sort of ladybug medicine, but I never looked into what that would be. But anyway, so that's just an interesting piece on my part. Thank you for listening.
That's like a really great example of how those kinds of messages come through when we're not journeying at all, when we're just day to day. And it makes me wonder, you're talking about going to the beach and having things call out to come home to you. And here Ladybug has given you this stone, you know, for me in my practice anyways, working with stones is a big deal. There's a big part of my practice is dealing with stones, and you know, there you can journey and meet the stone people, and you can, you know, have so much ancient wisdom, you know, brought through a rock, really, you know. It's just like a whole world to dive into, like working with stone medicine. So
yeah, that's a good point. Most often the things that want to come home with me are stones, but occasionally, yeah, pieces of wood and such too.
I'm just thinking, actually, I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I do have a stone spirit medicine journey on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
You can do it with your stone. That comes through probably soon. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I've said all that I need to say. Let me just look at my notes again, because I do tend to go on a little tangent, and I just wanted to make sure that I've covered everything. I think we're good, and it's 8:29, so yay for being on time. Awesome. Thanks you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna do a little bit of editing now with the audio, and then nip it off to those that couldn't make it for their reasons. And yeah.
Well, thank you for hosting.
You know,
yeah, it was awesome.
Excellent.
Probably think of questions later.
Yeah, we'll send them anytime. And then yeah, I'm going off to hold the Vision Quest this weekend, and then through September I'll be just finishing up interviews and things like that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys when I see ya.
Okay, thank you.